Hello, it's Killian here, and today I'm going to elaborate more on yesterday's video about dysthymia. I was pronouncing it wrong. I pronounced it dysthymia. It's actually dysthymia. And after I finished making the video, I just kind of kept on thinking of things that I did not mention about it, and I just kind of wanted to make a more, in-depth description of what it is. Okay, so here we go. With dysthymia, I'm just going to read a little blurb here. You may lose interest in normal daily activities, feel hopeless, lack productivity, have low self-esteem, and an overall feeling of inadequacy. These feelings last for years and may significantly interfere with your relationships, school, work, and daily activities. If you have persistent depressive disorder, aka dysthymia, you may find it hard to be upbeat even on happy occasions. You may be described as having a gloomy personality, constantly complaining, or incapable of having fun. Though persistent depressive disorder is not as severe as major depression, your current depressed mood may be mild, moderate, or severe. So there's different levels of it. And it can also fluctuate. It won't necessarily always have the same level of, like, your mood might not necessarily always be the same. Like for me personally, when I'm in school, it's more mild, and when I'm not in school, it actually goes towards like more towards the severe level. And actually, it's like even when I'm in school, and then I'm around in the moments where I'm around people, it feels like it's not even there sometimes. And those are like just only like those moments though, and then as soon as I'm alone again, there it goes again. And and of course, the gloomy personality thing isn't an always, because I definitely do not have a gloomy personality. I have never once had anyone say that to me. But of course, with symptoms of anything, you don't have to have every single one. Okay, so mild dysthymia. I mispronounced it again. Oh, and by the way, it's sometimes called chronic depression too because of how long it lasts. Anyways, mild dysthymia can result in withdrawing from stress and avoiding opportunities for failure. So, so like procrastinating sometimes is the thing that happens, and it often happens with me. My stress and my dysthymia just kind of combines for a double whammy of procrastination. Super fun, really fun. And of course, that just makes the stress even worse. Okay, and when it's more severe, people might withdraw from daily activities. Because I know when I was going into a more severe level of it, when I just, I think it got the most severe, it was like, I would call it like almost to the level of a major depressive episode. It was almost there, not quite. I isolated myself from pretty much everyone. And, and that's a thing that often happens with dysthymia and with depression. Isolating yourself from something, and you don't feel like you don't want to go outside, you don't want to go anywhere, you don't have the motivation to get out. And if that's the case, that's only going to make it worse. So if you can, please force yourself to go outside. And I know you won't necessarily be able to force yourself to go outside. I rarely able to force myself to go outside. So if you can't, try to find someone who would be willing and able to force you to go outside, to give you, like, I find I often I'm much more likely to be willing to go outside if it's for food. And yeah, just like, you know, I would call it, I don't know, like a depression buddy. Find someone who can, you know, help you out. If you have anyone, like, doesn't necessarily have to be family. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be anyone, really. A roommate, that could help. Like, they don't necessarily, they could just, you know, push you outside and be like, yeah, go do something. Don't stay inside. Though, anyway. Yeah, I love my place. I love my place. Sorry. That was really horrible. I was halfway between saying terrible and horrible. Right, because with dysthymia, the symptoms tend to be a lot subtler than with depression. It's often a lot harder to diagnose it, and people with dysthymia often find it a lot easier to hide symptoms in social situations. Like with me, you'd never know that I had dysthymia, like, talking with me in public, and really talking to me anywhere. When I'm in a conversation, it doesn't show. Mostly because, well, for me, it's mostly because I tend to be in a better mood when I'm in a conversation. So, like, that's, you know, there's that. But yeah, like, people with dysthymia tend to be a lot, it's pretty easy to hide. And so it makes it harder for other people to detect the symptoms. And there's a problem. One thing with dysthymia, oftentimes there'll be another mental illness as well. Like it's quite often, and the ones that often occur with it often have overlapping symptoms. So maybe often, like, if you might be diagnosed with the other thing, but you won't be diagnosed with dysthymia because they associate, there's the symptom of you think the symptom is just, it's the other thing, not dysthymia, but like both of them have the same symptom. And so it's like, yeah, sometimes it's a lot harder to, people with dysthymia do have quite a high rate of suicidal behavior. Yeah, tend to be a bit of a suicide risk. I'm lucky about that. I'm not so bad on that front. I have not ever self-harmed, but it's been touch and go once or twice. Well, when I say I've never self-harmed, I've never self-harmed in a way that has scarred me, or like maybe bleed, or any kind of, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so the things that can happen with dysthymia are also a major depression, panic disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and alcohol and substance misuse is something that you gotta look out for. I'm pretty lucky that I've never really gotten into that in the first place, so yeah, that's good. And also, I'm going back to university in like 8 days, but I've decided not to drink. I could drink a little bit, but because with my medication, you can only drink, like, if you're gonna drink, you can't drink much at all. Like, just like probably like, I don't know, like a cooler one. But I decided to not bother with it. And also, personality disorders are more common. So with dysthymia for a child, it has to occur for 1 year or more, and for an adult, it's 2 years or more. And if dysthymia starts before the age of 21, it's early onset. If it's 21 or older, it's late onset. And I have early onset. And with early onset, there's a lot of additional, like, you're more likely to have other mental illnesses if you're early onset. And it's also associated with more frequent relapses, psychiatric hospitalizations, and higher co-occurrence in personality abnormalities. So yeah, the early onset is a tough pill. And for older adults, it's often associated with medical conditions and stress, like lots of it. And symptoms can come and go, and the intensity can change, like I said, but symptoms sometimes go away for a while, but for it to be dysthymia, it can't disappear for more than 2 months. When you go into a major depressive episode and you have dysthymia, that's called double depression. And so like you're already dysthemic, and then you go into a depression, so it's called double depression because you were already, So some of the symptoms, so tiredness and lack of energy, low self-esteem, self-criticism, and feeling incapable, trouble concentrating and trouble making decisions, irritability and excessive anger, decreased activity, effectiveness, and productivity, feelings of guilt and worries over the past, persistent feelings of sadness, emptiness, and hopelessness, sleep problems, so it can be too much or too little. For me, it's too much, though it's hard to see that because of how my sleep schedule is really fucked. So it might look like I'm getting too little, but I'm actually getting. It's actually when I sleep, I end up sleeping for like 12 hours. Change in appetite, so increase or decrease in appetite. A lack of interest in daily activities, and people usually lack pleasure from doing things you used to enjoy. For me, I've it's hard to motivate myself to do things and to do anything, including the things that I love to do. If there's any prep, it's not going to happen, pretty much. Like going on the computer, reading manga, and these are all things I already liked. And these things I can do, and reading a book. I just have to get the book, sit down, and read. But if I like artwork, I have to go and get all my art supplies, and or like pretty much like anything that has to, like, I need to do something in advance. Like for me, I have to go right into it. Otherwise, it's not, like, I don't have the motivation to do anything else. Yeah. And then there's also the avoidance of social activity. So it's, that tends to be isolating yourself. With dysthymia, there is tends to have a reduced quality of life, major depression, anxiety disorders, and mood disorders, substance abuse, relationship difficulties and family conflicts, school and work problems and decreased productivity, chronic pain and general medical illnesses, suicidal thoughts and behavior, personality disorders, or other mental health disorders. Right, and okay, so here's the thing. You can't have had if you've had a manic, hypomanic, or mixed episodes, then it's not dysthymia. And if you've ever fulfilled criteria for cyclothymic disorder, it's not dysthymia. And it's also not dysthymia if you have, wait, sorry, I'm just going to read it out. The depression does not exist only as a part of chronic psychosis. So, yeah, then it's not dysthymia as well. So there's, the exact cause of dysthymia isn't known. And it might involve like multiple causes, and these are the ones that it might be. So there might be biological differences, like a difference in the brain. And brain chemistry is quite likely because, like the medication, most medication affects that's what it affects, and it works for a lot of people. Like my old medication only affected my serotonin, so it increased my mood, like it helped my mood. And my new medication increased my serotonin, but it also increases my dopamine and my norepinephrine. I may be mispronouncing that. And there might be inherited traits. I don't think I have any depression in my family, me personally. But like, it's not necessarily everyone has this. This isn't like a but it does appear to be more common in people whose blood relatives also have it. And then there's life events, traumatic events such as a loss of a loved one, financial problems, or a high level of stress can trigger it. Yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, we did it. Okay, so if you enjoyed this at all, maybe subscribe or like the video, or just, even if you didn't like it, you could comment. You could tell me how stupid this video was. That's fine. I don't really care. Go ahead. Ugh, shaky video. Right. So, if you want to go on, my Twitter is it's Killian Murphy, ITSKILIANMURPHY. And my Tumblr is Not Just Any Mahogany. That is a Dragon Ball Z abridged reference. Anyways, look at my stuff. Yeah. This is a horrible. Anyway. Bye!